AngusArt Entertainment has rated this video a 14 for young adult audiences. It may feature language or content that may not be suitable for younger viewers. Discretion is therefore advised.
Excuse me, everyone, but we have a situation. I don't know if I heard correctly about what might happen here at the studio, but if we get this art summary video going, we can at least get some views before things get crazy.
What kind of situation do you mean, Sam? Don't tell me we forgot to pay the utilities.
No, Hazel, it's nothing like that. It's difficult to explain, but the least we can do is try to finish the year the same way it's been done for the last decade. Do we have any trivia to start with at least?
Why don't we get our buddy from RoboSoft to help us with that one? Simon, what do you have for us this year?
It's kind of last minute, Spotty, but I do have something. Welcome, viewers. On behalf of everyone here, I, Simon, bring to you this year's trivia question, that little something we give you before the art summary, and the answer will be given after the December entry. This year's art summary trivia question is: how many videos in Angus's YouTube channel have reached 1,000 views or more? It's not much of a question, true, but it was a bit of a slow year for Angus. But that's not to say he didn't have much in the way of submissions that became good favorites. Now then, we drew names out of the hat again. Who gets to start with the first month's entry?
I did, and I am ready. Hello, I am Microsoft George, and we start things off almost immediately, as one of the first January entries was timed well enough to bring in the favorites at DeviantArt. A Chungus, Among Us. Carrying over into 2019 was a meme that derived from the 1941 Bugs Bunny cartoon, Wobbit Twobble. At the time, Elmer Fudd was made out as a pudgy little guy, and in one scene, Bugs imitates him, complete with physical mockery. 78 years later, that scene was thrown all over the internet, and thanks to a model found in Gary's mod, along with Looney Tunes models by J.C. Thornton, a scene could be created. As you can see, the other model of Bugs is not too flattered with seeing the big Chungus model, but Daffy Duck, on the other hand, is in serious laughing fits over the fact that he's not the butt of the joke this time. No sooner had this been assembled and put on display, it started getting favorite notifications, and in a month and a half, it became the fastest to 50 faves for Angus. It had broken 70 faves up until now, the big highlight of the year.
That certainly is a tough act to follow, George. Hello. This is Harvey Zilf, and I get to bring you the entry for February. SHROOMY. If you remember last year, you'd have seen some images done by Angus that were inspired by the works of SMG4 on YouTube. One of the characters you would try to recreate during this time was the Mushroom Scout leader, SHROOMY, who was often on the receiving end of some physical slapstick humor and often voiced his displeasure as a result. "Wow, what an asshole!" was a catchphrase you would say. The sunglasses were included because there was a Valentine's Day episode where this character was being set up for dating, and at one point, he sported a pair. Sure, there was a mean face to go with those sunglasses, but Angus felt he had enough to add to it.
Well, one good SMG4 reference deserves another. Wouldn't you say, Harv?
You have one of those to show us, too, Johnny.
Indeed I do. Yes, it's me, Johnny Bacon Baker, and as you can guess, my entry for March has nothing to do with any kind of food stuff, but instead with two other characters related to the February entry. SMG4's guards. There was a less popular series of videos in that channel that chronicled the misadventures of two security guards. One was given the name of Swagmaster 69696969696. The other one? Chris. Whatever the job they had to do, it was often hampered by Swagmaster being a total doofus, and this irritated Chris, not to mention anyone else around him. When they failed at those jobs, they would eventually make appearances alongside other characters in their videos. It is because of this we see a rendition of this duo as well.
I think I remember those two. actually. Hey, Mike, didn't they sound kind of, well, familiar to you?
Come to think of it, Sam, their voices were pretty distinct. Just something about them, I can't quite put my finger on it.
Oh, gimme a damn break, you really couldn't tell? Those two characters had your voices. Sam is Swagmaster, Mike is Chris.
What, really? They're us?
Nah, that can't be right. I just don't hear it. You're imagining things, Mary.
You know what? Screw this. I've got better things to do than spell it out for you two. Hello. I'm Microsoft Mary, and for April, we move on to something that is more of a commemorative. Angry Birds' 10th anniversary. From some people in Finland to everywhere around the world, everyone knows about the battle that's raged between these fine feathered friends and the pigs that want their eggs. Angus kept things simple by making the 0 in the number 10 look like the silhouette of one of the birds, with the egg forming the center hole. The minimal look was more than enough to get the point across to everyone.
I enjoy those games, actually. But there's something missing whenever I fling birds at the pig fortresses. Why is it that when you pop a pig, it doesn't turn into bacon? That would be great to see. Turning those pigs into lean, crisp, juicy.
I was afraid of this. Somebody do something. Quickly.
Ouch. That was right in the bacon bits. Ow.
Sorry about that, Johnny. I ended up grabbing old Red first thing.
That's understandable, Janitor Jack. Isn't it your turn for the next selection anyway?
That's right. Well, like Sam said, I am Janitor Jack, and for the month of May, I bring you another Gary's Mod creation. Sonic vs. Movie. When the first movie trailer came out for Sonic the Hedgehog, many viewers were not pleased with the way the blue bear looked. It was quite a monstrosity. So much so that memes sprouted all over the place. But rather than go that route, Angus worked with the models available and came up with this image that of Sonic getting a look at the trailer on his smartphone. Dr. Eggman can't help but have a belly laugh over this, as if it would embarrass his foil. The displeasure, voiced by the public, was actually heard by the filmmakers at Paramount, and before you know it, work began on redesigning Sonic, and 6 months later, a better-looking version of him, truer to his video game appearances, was shown. A second Gmod scene was made in response to the new trailer and the new look. Now Sonic can show it to Eggman, while an unrelated Kappa congratulates him. It just goes to show that it pays attention to your audience, doesn't it?
One would think that whoever did the original designs probably never played a Sonic game in his life.
You are probably right, Scotty. They should have consulted more with Sega just to get it right the first time.
True enough, Anna. I'll bet you're up next, huh?
Why yes I am. Hello viewers, I am Microsoft Anna. And while we are on the subject of Sonic and Gary's Mod, the offering we have for June takes things into another direction, that of a crossover idea. Phoenix Wright and Knuckles.
Shut up!
Anyone who has ever played the Ace Attorney games would know all too well the occasional shouts of objection, hold it, take that, and so much more. But when it comes to shouting anything, no one can belt out, shut up, like the Reddit kidness. This was but one idea that had been brewing for some time, and it was finally brought to fruition during the month.
I remember that shout from Sonic X, but I also remember it from the first YouTube poop video I got to see that had a little fun with that episode in particular. Right, Aunt Hazel?
Yes, George, I remember it too, and an entry in July sparked other memories I had, not just of the character used in reference, but for the game that was spoofed as well. You don't know Snacks? The people at Sesame Street would probably love to try a sketch based on this, a take on the classic 90s trivia game You Don't Know Jack, especially with the recent spin-offs that make up the JACKBOX party packs, making a sketch that's best described as trivia with a bite. The idea of calling the host Cookie Monster Son is a take on the voice you hear in most of the Jack trivia games, Cookie Master Son.
I think the funniest thing about this one is that it's not the only Jack reference Angus would have around that time.
It isn't. I don't recall any others on his art page.
Well, there is one that never made it to that gallery. He did a take on the trademark Jack head, replacing it with his image of the heavy weapons guy from Team Fortress 2. He also had some help from an audio editor to make the heavy say the title he had in mind.
And what was the title?
You don't look shit!
Well, I guess that answers that.
I'm thinking it's going to take two of us to help discuss the August entry. Hello. I'm Lernout and Homsky Michael. My sister Michelle and I are here to bring you a series of Gmod images. When eggs collide.
Every so often, newer versions of character models are introduced, and at one point, it would appear that someone finally got the design right for one such character. The version of Dr. Robotnik, as seen on the syndicated adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog. Some earlier images have him bursting onto the scene and chatting with other versions, like the current Dr. Eggman or an older Robotnik that can be traced to Sonic Generations, or even the 90s Japanese film.
But it was in August, when Angus discovered yet another version of this model, made by a skilled model maker, J.C. Thornton. Thornton also makes models of different cartoon characters, from Looney Tunes and Animaniacs, to classic Disney characters, to anything else he wanted to try. Just like that, Angus created a scene where JC's Robotnik meets with the earlier version. It also turns out that Thornton has a DeviantArt account as well, so it wasn't hard for him to notice and favorite anything Angus had that featured his models.
Thornton's version also got quite a shock, when another model maker featured a different version, that from Sonic's Saturday morning series that ran at the same time as the syndicated adventures.
I always wondered, why two animated series for the same character at the same time?
I know this. It was 1993 and they wanted to see which format worked better. The action-adventure drama from the Saturday show versus the slapstick craziness from the adventures. The better format would reshape the storylines for the comic book series that was published by Archie.
While back on the subject of Gary's mod, hello, I am Microsoft Zira, and for September, it is my pleasure to present to you Just Right. Do you remember seeing a model of Phoenix Wright from the Ace Attorney games? Well, the games are no stranger to puns, as you'd see from some character names, so it's only fair that the title puns the meme that we see Phoenix doing in court. When the evidence is presented just right. While not a perfect gesture to go with it, it is based on a scene in Disney's movie, The Emperor's New Groove, by Villager Pacha.
There are a lot of things they do in those games that you wouldn't normally see in court, but you have to admit, seeing Phoenix make that kind of move would seriously rile up prosecutor Miles Edgeworth.
Yes, I guess you're right, Anna. But it is all in the name of justice.
Wait a minute. Who is that?
Foolish mortal. I overheard the speaking of justice, and I plan to carry it out for my masters.
That's not either of the voices we've come to know and dread.
Then who is this thing?
Who I was is long forgotten. Only the new identity, since I had been given a purpose. You may refer to me as the Psycho Drill.
I am not impressed. You seem like another of those demons that pop up in everyone else's videos. I trust these masters you are talking about are from a certain place beneath us.
And you have come to claim us as their property, and are willing to do whatever it takes should we refuse.
You guessed it, ladies. There is a price on your heads, be they attached to your bodies or not. The rewards will be sweet, so they have stated.
Really? Are you sure about that?
Be careful, George. We don't yet know how powerful this abomination may be.
Silence. Let the young one explain.
I've only been with this lot for a short while now, and have had one run-in with one of your so-called masters, and considering where they are stationed, do they really appear that trusting to you? For all you know, they could be just luring you into doing their bidding, for bollocks. So while you may try to claim souls in their name, the reward might not be as sweet as you heard them say.
You lie. You just wish to delay the inevitable. Do you really think my masters would be that deceitful to their trusted aid?
Indeed he does, as well he should. It is in their nature to lie, to deceive, and I'm sure they did so to your face.
I hate it when they make sense, especially the one who watches over them. You may be right about their intentions, but that does not let any of you off the hook. I will charge my horn, and before you know it, all your souls will belong to me, and they can go smoke a turn in the hell they so inhabit.
Not so fast. Can't we just finish our presentation first?
You are already finished. Each and every one of you. Take this.
Ah, George was right. If they really wanted to reward you, they would have given you more power than a mere firecracker.
They have tried to fool everyone here in the studio before, but this time, their joke was on you. Shall I send you back from whence you came now?
Don't bother. I shall go back down there myself. I wish to confront those backstabbers and force them to give me the power I need. And as for all of you, don't think that this is over, not by a long shot. I shall be back, masters or no masters.
Phew. I think we got fairly lucky with that one.
You're right, Hazel. By the way, George, how did you know that would work, what you said to the psycho drill?
I didn't really know, David. I only figured as long as they like to mess with our minds, it was best to return the favor.
A clever move, George, even better when placed against evil. I commend you for your bravery and wit in the face of certain doom. But for now, I must go. You may resume your art summary video. Blessed art thou all.
Thanks for the help. Now where were we? Oh yes, hi there, I am Microsoft David, and for October, we have a rather interesting piece, that of a logo spoof based on a series of video games. Jackbox Hero. The earlier mention of You Don't Know Jack, and the subsequent spin-offs that form the Jackbox Party Packs brought this, a take on the Jackbox game's logo. Just add a guitar, put it on a stage, and presto, you have a mix of a logo and a take on a song that was done in 1981 by rock band, Foreigner. No additional lyrics were penned for this piece, but I'm sure there would be something about having trivia in his eyes.
Hey Sam. We should work on the lyrics to make a satire based on that song. What do you say?
Forget it, Mike. Even if we did that, we don't have the tech in the studio to customize our voices to properly sing, let alone the lack of music rights. Let's keep moving. Who's next?
We are, Sam. Hello, I am Microsoft Mark, and together with Microsoft Eva, we get to bring you the pick for November, based on a mix of Western humor and Japanese animation. Lupin III, YLKPDY.
Long ago, in the early days of DeviantArt, Angus tried his hand at making mouse, that is, paint-made templates, mostly based on facial expressions that were memes from such cartoons as SpongeBob SquarePants. One in particular was this crazy grin that was added to different characters for a series of pics titled, YLKPDY, short for, You Like Krabby Patties Don't You? The template was given to unrelated characters left and right, sometimes by request, but after a while, it would only be used sparingly, as with other bases. But one never knows when inspiration will strike next. That face from the episode, Just One Bite, was dusted off and brought up again after Angus was introduced by another, to a bit of Japanese anime, the classic character, Lupin III, who had been robbing people blind of their treasures for over 50 years. After seeing a few of the funnier scenes in an out-of-context video compilation, he took the chance, and used that big grin to make the master thief give off the ultimate gloat, or even just to bug his cohorts.
You like Fujiko, don't you, Jigen? Heh, sorry, you would have to know more about the characters in order to know what's going on. However, that image would end up being followed by another, same anime referenced, different template made from scratch. The blame template was another one that Angus occasionally used to make his cross-references, based on one of many expressions given by Timmy Turner's dad in The Fairly Odd Parents, usually aimed at the next-door neighbor, Dinkelberg. And who should get the honor of being crossed with this face? Who else but the one person on the police force who's dedicated his life to capturing Lupin? Inspector Zenigata.
I have to salute you both for getting the characters' names pronounced as perfectly as possible. How did you guys manage?
It wasn't easy, Scotty, but it sure was a lot of fun working on some helpful misspelling. However, due to a last-minute update, the year's picks do not end as happily.
That is true, Eva. Hello. Sydney here. And to close out the year, we bring up the December image that was heavily saved for one big reason. CARROLL SPINNEY, 1933 to 2019. Last year, Angus made a tribute piece as CARROLL stepped down from his roles on Sesame Street, leaving his two main characters, Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch, to other voice actors. A year later, the show would celebrate its 50-year anniversary, but early the following month, CARROLL died at the age of 85. All who grew up watching the show, be it from the early years or more recently, recognize the voices he had to help shape the two contrasting characters, and Angus was quick to do a take on this. The comforting character's image is indeed nothing new, but it does get the point across, and here we see Big Bird patting his trash can buddy on the back. This is one time that Oscar cannot stay grouchy, not at a time like this.
What really makes it sad for me is that I remember the episode when Big Bird learned about death after the passing of Mr. Hooper. They delivered the message so well, so that kids might understand, but at the same time, it was so potent.
And if you weren't moved back then, it'll hit you in the feels now.
I think we need something to help boost the mood after that one. Simon, do you have our answer to the trivia question?
I certainly do, Sam. Okay viewers, before the summary, we brought forth the question for you. How many videos in Angus's YouTube channel have reached 1,000 views or more? The answer? It's shown right here on the popular upload page, and the total is 15. From the first PBS 1971 logo spoofs video, which currently sits at 106,000 views, to the 2011 limited animation story, The ABCs of Memes, which broke the 1,000 mark not too long ago. To Angus, how fast a video reaches that landmark isn't that important, but by studying how quickly some move, it helps him learn where his strengths are.
Even though his projects were few and far between at times, Angus extends his thanks to you, the viewers, for helping him reach these milestones, and for a good 10 years of fun on YouTube. Now, Sam, what was the situation you mentioned early on?
Allow me to rephrase that, Anna. You see, what I thought was going to be a situation at the start, it seems to have resolved itself while we were going through production. It is a relief, but at the same time, one can't help but wonder what to expect in the future. It would be a shame, after 10 years of providing a mix of different videos, slideshows and formats, if something were to affect things. But for now, we can all breathe easily. But no matter where we are, or where we go, we hope that you, the viewers, will join us every step of the way. Angus sends his thanks to all of you, and here's looking forward to more fun. For everyone here at AngusArt Entertainment, this is Microsoft Sam saying, thank you, one and all.
I wonder how things went up on the surface.
I still think you should have given the psycho drill some power. It would have helped in at least claiming one soul before a certain someone interfered.
Nonsense. All you need is an intimidating look and enough juice to show them who's boss.
Don't look now, but I think someone had just enough juice to make it back.
So he did. Well now, my child, looks like you came back empty-handed, not a single soul on you. You have failed me.
On the contrary, Master, it is you who had failed me. I had a chance to zap them, only to find out you didn't give me the ability to do so.
I told you it wouldn't work, unless you gave him something.
Quiet. Now look, psycho, I sent you up there with enough to make them surrender. I even gave you that sharp horn to show when you mean business.
Oh yes, the horn. You know, maybe I was going at it all wrong. Perhaps I should be using it another way.
Really? Another way? How so?
I'm thinking something like this.
Ouch, that hurts. Ow, what are you doing? Damn it, you can't do this to me, I am your master. Ouch, stop this at once. Youch, Lucretia, do something.